Welcome to Colonial Life Arena in Columbia. Today the Gamecocks are back. It's been 4 weeks since South Carolina last played a game. Today it faces Florida A&M on the SEC Network. With Dane Bradshaw, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald. Unpredictable, challenging month-long stretch for the Gamecocks. That's what the original South Carolina basketball schedule looked like. Look at the number of cancellations and postponements. Only 3 games played, 3 full practices since December 7th, and that's because of 2 separate program pauses due to COVID-19. Dane, this team has had to manage more disruptions than most have to this point in the season.
Well, there's no question about it, and it's not as if they're ready to play today with their full squad. They've got Moss, Bryant, Frink, all of which provide experience, size, athleticism, shooting. So another opportunity for some guys that might not normally get minutes.
You saw 3 at the bottom there. Trey Anderson, Javon Benson, and Ford Cooper Jr. Those 3 have combined to play 4 minutes, and Trey Anderson has them all. Benson and Cooper expected to make their debuts today. Just 9 available for South Carolina against the upset-minded Florida A&M Rattlers. And away we go inside Colonial Life Arena. Glad you're with us on this Saturday. Kicking off our hoops coverage today across the network. The officials are Todd Austin, Darren George, and Errol Lewis. South Carolina, of course, in the white. The Rattlers visiting from Tallahassee in that bright orange. 7th Woods may run a bit of the point today. He's been typically coming off the bench, but of course making the start in place of a couple starters. And A.J. Lawson has the first basket for South Carolina. These are the Florida A&M starters, brought to you by Farm Ridge. M.J. Randolph, number 3 in the orange, is the top scorer. He goes for 16 a game and does it in a variety of ways. D.J. Jones with the left hand. You see Lawson, he leads the way for South Carolina, the SEC's active scoring leader. And yeah, Dane, the changes today to this starting lineup, Woods is in, Levesque is in because Alonzo Frink and Keyshawn Bryant, 2 starters, part of the notable absences today. It is a skeleton crew for the Gamecocks.
Well, all players want more minutes. They don't want it necessarily for these reasons, but if you want an opportunity to be in the starting lineup and have an opportunity to perform for your team, here it is.
You just saw Frank Martin, of course, in his 9th season at South Carolina, and he was telling us, I'm not sure if this is best for us right now, but the players want to be here, and they've worked tirelessly, abiding by, of course, stringent protocols to prepare for this game and play it their first in 4 weeks.
Well, you've got to respect that because I think a lot of coaches would say, hey, guys, let's just wait till we get our full squad back. Let's have some more full-length practices as a team as opposed to the risk of a potential upset because you're going to have some rust. But I think what outweighs that is the excitement to play, get back on the court, compete, and listening to your players, which is what Frank Martin has done.
Jones at the free throw line has all 4 for Florida A&M. So if you forgot, it's been almost a month. South Carolina, 3 games under its belt. 2 in Kansas City, losses to Liberty and 10th-ranked Houston, and the lone win against Tulsa in that Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City. The last game, December 5th for the Gamecocks. This is Lawson, barrels into a Rattler, and a blocking foul.
Well, Kevin, because of that, it's not just that they hadn't been on the court together a bunch. Many of them haven't been on the court at all. When they're put in isolation and quarantine, you can't get out of your apartment and go get shots up and keep your conditioning up. And so not only are they shorthanded, but these guys are going to get winded early. If I'm Frank Martin, I'm not going home with any of my timeouts. You're going to have to call more than usual. Keep your guys as fresh as possible.
And that's to compound the challenge, if you will. Conditioning a challenge. But you only have 9 bodies. Traveling violation, ball back to Florida A&M. So, Dane, do you know the last time South Carolina opened its home slate this late in the season?
No, but you don't ask questions you don't know answers to, so fire away, educate us.
Do you want to? 1946, and if you recall, That was when South Carolina played in the ACC. So it's been a little while. And the opener inside Colonial Life Arena coming on January 2nd. 18-footer goes down. And that's Cameron Reeves, the senior from Champaign, Illinois. The grandson of the head coach, Robert McCullum.
Yeah, Reeves not shooting the ball very well this year, but he still shoots it well and confidently. Just a matter of time before it starts falling.
Here is Randolph, who scores more than 16 a game. Feeds Reeves for 3. And this will be the theme all afternoon, Dane. South Carolina hasn't played in a month. Florida A&M, meanwhile, has faced some stiff competition, growing with each game and progressing. It's been on the road for the entirety of the season thus far. And there's Kusnar with an answer for 3. Reeves fouled. That's Levesque's first. Robert McCullum, he is guiding Florida A&M back to relevance. Last year, its conference record was the best in 13 years. He's been in this coaching game for close to 4 decades now. And Dane, when you want to talk about just reps and seasoning and growth, Florida A&M has had the chance to do that. It has played Georgia. It has played Oregon, Oklahoma, Georgia Tech. Giving the Yellow Jackets quite a test a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Georgia Tech got away with one as it was a back-and-forth game. And Florida A&M obviously not afraid to schedule anybody. It's good for their athletic department, so don't let the record fool you. But I'll tell you what is fooling South Carolina right now is Reeves. This is a guy coming into the game shooting 29% from 2, 30% from 3. Like I said, shoots it confidently, just hadn't been going in. And he's been the difference so far early in this game.
He's got 7 of Florida A&M's 11. Minaya fights for the offensive board, earns 2 free throws. And Dane, this is something we're going to have to pay attention to all afternoon. Again, South Carolina with just 9 available players. Pretty much the lone big. Wildens Levesque already with 2 fouls. South Carolina without 2 starters. It's top guard off the bench and a key big. Falls in line with what the last 4 weeks have been a challenge. FAMU works it around. Jalen Spear got hit, rising. And the freshman has a pair of free throws.
And Frank Martin talked about how excited his team was just to get on the court and play, but with that excitement is going to come some rust. And I think we're seeing that already with a few defensive breakdowns that they've had. That time they closed out well, they recovered, they helped, but then they end the possession with a slap on the wrist there as you foul a jump shooter, which should never happen.
If you're a player in this situation, how do you keep your mind at ease? You haven't had the chance to practice, let alone get some shots up on your own in the gym. What's the psyche these guys have to be like today?
I'm sure if there was ever a time in their lives they are sick of their cell phone or social media,
yeah.
this would be it, because I can't imagine how bored they must be. But you're right, the basketball court is an escape no matter what's going on in your life, whether it's grades, girls, home stuff, and these guys have not had the benefit of that.
Lawson offline. A new 20-second shot clock for South Carolina. Lawson misfires again. Kusnard got it, and the foul. So South Carolina's leading scorer, Jermaine Kusnard, has a free throw when we return.
Well, everybody's going to play a lot of positions this time. Kusnard filling in for the big men that are missing in foul trouble. getting an and one down in the paint.
Geico's whole 15 minutes thing, that came from me. My first idea was, in 1/4 of an hour, your savings will tower. But that's not catchy. So I thought, 15 minutes, 15% serendipity.
Geico.
First game in 4 weeks. He's going to get a little test today from an upset-minded Florida A&M squad. Glad to be with the former Tennessee captain, Dane Bradshaw. Kevin Fitzgerald with you. And Dane, as I just alluded to a moment ago, Florida A&M led by the senior Cameron Reeves, off to a fine start inside Colonial Life Arena.
A confident shooter, and he's come out of the gates here seeking his shot. He's done it on the one dribble pull-up variety. He's gotten himself to the free throw line at times, and when his teammates are finding him, he's stepping into that shot, ready to roll. 7 points early, because if you're South Carolina, you say, hey, we're holding their leading scorer, Randolph, to 0 in the first 5 minutes, you feel like you've probably got yourself a lead. But not the case due to number 2 in orange.
This Florida A&M team, battle-tested already, 6 games under its belt. That doubles the number of games South Carolina has played in. You referenced it a few minutes ago. They played Georgia Tech really tough 2 weeks ago, where within 5 to 7 for much of that game, eventually fell. But the Rattlers, with a larger rotation, more reps already to this point, if you will, and off to a nice start, 2-point lead.
Kevin, many times when you're trying to pull off an upset, sometimes it's not about who you play, but when you play them. And so this is that great opportunity to get what would be a big win for your program on a team that's a little bit shorthanded, a little bit rusty. Certainly Frank Martin would never make excuses, but that's what it is before teams find a way to get in their rhythm and groove. You can catch them early in the season.
And as a player, you're aware of the circumstances, right? You understand your opponent hasn't played in 4 weeks. May give yourself a mental edge leading up to this one.
When you've seen some of the press from Florida A&M, I think you got to try to make fatigue a factor and say, look, if you're the Rattlers, make South Carolina get to their bench. Let's see them on their knees huffing and puffing. But a big shot there by Minaya to retake the lead.
Boy, isn't it nice to see a healthy Justin Minaya, the redshirt junior from New Jersey. Had that sophomore season disrupted, if you will, due to the knee surgery. Last year missed a bunch of games. His shot looks really good. He is kind of the straw that stirs the drink for South Carolina this year. One of the older and experienced leaders. Another 3 goes down for the Rattlers. And a turnover. There's Randolph. Goaltend regardless, it went in. Hannibal got a piece, so count it for Randolph.
But Frank Martin's got to be furious. There's no excuse for that one. You're dribbling the ball up the court as a point guard, and the big man runs into you. That's elementary school mistakes right there. You got to spread the court, don't run into each other. And all of a sudden, this is a Rattler team with a ton of confidence now, and South Carolina's going to have to stay composed.
And Lawson goes to work, missed it right at the rim. It's a mini 5-0 FAMU run. Spear just hit a 3 from this spot a moment ago, and he cans another.
3 for 4 now from 3 are the Rattlers. And I keep saying the word confidence, but they look like they're more excited to play than the Gamecocks are at this point.
Kusnard has missed a few times from deep. But the Gamecocks get it back in the backcourt. 7th Woods. Got it. Evans Desir. Got the size advantage on Trey Anderson, but threw it away.
Well, they brought the double team down for a reason. The big fella has some good feet and a soft touch around the basket. I don't think I've ever said watch out for the 300-pounder's fadeaway bank shot, so I'm going to get it in now because he's got a touch around the basket. Watch out for him.
That wood shot will not count. Foul before the layup. That is the 6'8", 300-pound Haitian, Evans Desir. In his senior season, Florida A&M was without him their first couple of games, and he adds a fine dimension off the bench. So Dane, SEC play, of course, it started earlier this week. South Carolina and Ole Miss are the teams that will complete their non-conference schedules today. But we have reached the point. We are into SEC play starting this week around the conference. Good contest. Desir with the rebound. And Rattlers this way.
Kevin, one of the issues on that is with South Carolina and Ole Miss is the lack of opportunities to build your resume heading into conference play, because the deeper you get into the season, the harder it is to make up those games that got postponed that are most likely going to move into the canceled category before too long.
Excellent defense. It leads to the turnover and a chance offensively for the Gamecocks. There's Javon Benson, the freshman playing his first minutes. He's got a chance for his first points at the line. Welcome to Colonial Life Arena. The freshman from right down the road went to Ridgeview High, which is maybe a 15-minute drive from where he stands right now. 6'7", 250 pounds. And he will be relied upon today. Only 9 players available for the Gamecocks. DJ Jones back in. The two-time state champ has his first point. Littles tried the backdoor cut. Kusnard with a good sleight of hand. Up ahead to Anderson. Lost it. Florida A&M basketball when we return. The Rattlers with a 4-point lead over the shorthanded Gamecocks.
Alabama, Ohio State, the national championship game, Monday, January 11th on ESPN.
Boy, what a performance by those. What a performance last night by those, either the 3rd ranked or 11th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. I can't keep track of
no regrets per Dabo.
Yeah.
No regrets. However, that was the fresher team. One side continues to argue. The other side argues the better team.
Yeah, Justin Fields was excellent through 6 touchdown passes. We've got more hoops coming up later today on the SEC Network. The first of 3 right now in Columbia. Next, it's Auburn and Texas A&M at 3:30. Kentucky and Mississippi State at 6. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. Now, Dane, Kentucky has never lost to Mississippi State with John Calipari at the helm. And today, we'll see how much that streak is tested.
Yeah, with Molinar and DJ Stewart at Mississippi State, they've got a little bit of experience despite losing a ton of players. They still had some guys come back, unlike Kentucky, which virtually had nothing returned. So the other part, I think Kentucky's looking forward to a fresh start. That's something conference play allows you to do, is say, all right, forget the non-conference. Let's wipe the slate clean. We're 0-0 and go from here.
Kusnard in transition.
That's what they need, is their defense leading to offense. Prior to the break, they had gotten a perfect defensive possession, then turned it over on the fast break. But that's what they have to do, is convert.
That's now 5 turnovers for Florida A&M. They're shooting very well. Now 7 of 10 from the field after the Desir basket. Lawson for 3. Jones had it. Lawson gathers it on the ricochet and scores. A.J. Lawson, a junior from Ontario, now a 3-year starter, nearing 1,000 points for his career. Limited sample size, but he's looked very good outside of just shooting the basketball through his team's first 3 games. Lead back to 4 for Florida A&M. That's the question. How else can Lawson grow? Not only as a scorer this year for South Carolina, he traveled there. So that's the 4th South Carolina turnover.
But I like him turning down the 3. His footwork needs to be better, obviously not travel, but he's shooting over half of his shots from 3. So teams are going to try to take that away. I think he's got to make them honor that drive. He's a terrific athlete, as you saw right there, despite the travel. I'd like to see him have that attack mode towards the rim as much as he does from the three-point line.
Reeves attacks on this side. And that shot was blocked. Manaya got a piece of Desir's putback. Ball stays here.
Good hustle here. Desir's going to get in there, and a below-the-rim score for sure. What I liked was all 4 of his teammates coming to try to help him up. He said, no, I got this. I'm not going to make you guys put in that much energy and work.
Another turnover.
I tell you, he really does. He's got special footwork, and you don't see many big guys that have that type of athleticism. You see it on the offensive line and defensive line, but this guy's really got a nice feel for the game.
He scores about 9 points a game in just 16 minutes per contest. So back on this side of the floor, you were lauding Lawson's play. He and Kusnard in a game where you have 9 players available, like they've got to go to work today, don't they?
They do, and they're, and right now that's what they need more of, is just getting more stops. Florida A&M playing with so much confidence even when they're contested. And
that's Trey Hannibal.
Up and down. There you go. Nice physical drive by Hannibal.
Hannibal takes it away from Reeves. Euro step. Can't lay it in. 7th Woods ties up Reeves. And then the pile-up. Possession arrow favors the Rattlers.
Yeah, that's possession Rattlers, but momentum Gamecocks. I mean, that's what Frank Martin wants to see, is trailing the play, physical, getting in there, not letting go of that ball, forcing the jump ball. Nice job by 7th Woods as they try to impose their will on this Florida A&M team that has not backed down whatsoever so far.
Randolph fouled on the drive. Lawson gets whistled for the personal. Just 2 points for Florida A&M's leading scorer. 1 of 3 from the field.
Yeah, Randolph's a really talented scorer, and he does it all from 2. He's only taken 3 three-pointers on the year. Takes a lot of tough twos, mostly off the dribble. Very crafty inside the perimeter.
He does a little bit of everything. Jones on the drive, got fouled by Manaya.
Well, they're going to give him an and one. I mean, that's just, if you're Benson, the young freshman, you got to let that one go.
A good call. It's goaltending violation. Count the basket. One more free throw coming.
I mean, that's just too close. You got to be more aware of where the rim is, the ball, the flight of the ball. They get away with the missed free throw.
You've got two players on the floor for South Carolina right now, Benson and Anderson, who have logged 4 combined minutes. Hannibal attacking, wild shot, and Jones secures the rebound. Spear on the pull-up. Rebound Benson. Benson wants 3, and he buries it. Javon Benson, the Columbia native. South Carolina back within 1. Anderson fouls Randolph.
Yeah, on the other end, Benson's sitting here saying, well, if the guards aren't going to make any shot, I'll just step in and do a little trailer 3. Textbook. Well done by the freshman.
Making the most of his minutes. Jones got it. Long 2. The tall and lanky senior from Baton Rouge, DJ Jones, who started at Tulane, finishing up his career in Tallahassee. South Carolina playing its first game in 4 weeks. Hannibal sticks the 3.
Well done job by Hannibal there, but you look at that zone and you start to look at some of those holes, and I envision Keyshawn Bryant, who's out today. He's their mid-range specialist and their athlete, and you can't help but think they miss that weapon, especially against the zone.
Randolph's miss. Careens out of bounds. Florida A&M basketball when we come back. Tied up at 28 in Columbia.
Did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip Hop Group Tag Team to help you plan dessert?
Fresh vanilla, rocky road, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough, scoop this.
Geico. See all the ways you could save.
Very interesting, Alyssa. Sark maybe making the move to Austin.
How about the road to recovery that goes through Nick Saban? I mean, when guys feel like maybe their career has taken a turn for the worse, he just says, come on in here. Come on, let's get a couple rings together, and then we'll send you on your way for one of the biggest contracts in all of sports.
Take an internship program in Tuscaloosa. It certainly leads to success, to your point. Boy, it's a bonanza, isn't it? The bowl games, the college football playoff yesterday, the championship game coming up now. You've got SEC hoops back.
But I think what is kind of wild, though, Kevin, that I didn't really, maybe I was too naive, but with the pandemic and knowing what a crazy year was going to be and so out of the ordinary, it has not taken the pressure off the coaches to win. Not at these big schools that can afford to buy them out. And as we talked with Frank Martin, the players are getting an extra year of eligibility, but look, nobody's saying, hey, coaches, this year doesn't count against you. So
right.
The pressure to win while still trying to make sure you put player safety as a priority at all times.
Randolph is heading to the line. All of that, to your point, under immense and stringent protocols. By the way, this is South Carolina's first lead since it was 3-2. Doubleheader on Tuesday of SEC Hoops. It starts with Vanderbilt and Kentucky at 7. The 12th-ranked Tigers head to Starkville to take on Mississippi State at 9. It's also streaming on the ESPN app.
Missouri's got
Missouri's pretty darn good.
Yeah, they are, but I think, they're on the road at Arkansas today, currently up 6, and I think could be an important win for them, just due to the fact that they had such a poor showing against Tennessee, who is top of the class in the SEC right now, but they lost by 20. And so just to show everybody, hey, it's not fool's gold. We've beaten some good teams. We still are. If they can go on the road and beat a 9-0 Arkansas Razorback team, we'll certainly keep them in the top 15, top 20 of AP rankings.
Toughest test of the year for the Razorbacks, that's for sure. Benson, who has 4 points, the freshman from Columbia, missed everything on his prior attempt. After the Florida A&M miss, Minaya and the Gamecocks coming this way with a 1-point advantage. Minaya steps into the 3. Benson fights for it. Rebound to Johnny Brown.
Yeah, you just got to make it. It's a great transition play, and that's what you love about Minaya right there, is he's not going to hang his head. Misses an open look, sprints back, and takes charges. Not something that he had to get comfortable doing. I mean, he was doing this as a freshman. There was a reason Frank Martin and this staff loved him the minute he stepped on the court. He had a high IQ, team first guy, has had some injuries, but I still think he's the type of guy, by the time he's out of Columbia, he'll have some all-SEC accolades to his name.
And Dan, you bring up a good point. He's missed 36 games the last 2 years. It really feels like he is the X factor for a Gamecocks team that is more experienced than it has been in recent years. He's whistled for the over the back here.
I think he's the glue, he's the X factor, but the trick is that there's going to be times, especially in a season right now, where you're going to have some guys down where they're going to need X factors to be more than that. They need you to even carry a bigger load of the scoring. When you look at a guy like Keyshawn Bryant, he's not putting up 20 a game, but he's close to a double-digit score. TJ Moss, a good shooter, so it has. You said it in the open. It's just been a lot of disruption across the country, and South Carolina has been at the top of that list. With that said, let's hope for their sake that the worst is behind them, because we saw a Tennessee team that had their first 5 games canceled. So in a lot of ways, when they look back on it, they're like, you know what, I'm glad we got a lot of this out of the way early on so that we can, fingers crossed, continue moving forward. And same thing with South Carolina, where it's been a roller coaster year, but hopefully 2021, for all of our sake, has more to offer.
Lawson, a straight line drive to the rim. Florida A&M running the floor. Bryce Moraine, the senior from Tampa, with his first basket. And the response. Lawson.
That's what you want from Lawson. We said it a few minutes ago. You got to put your head down and go to the rim. Take advantage of your athleticism and the fact that they respect your three-pointer so much, it should open up driving lanes.
– 16-footer way off for Moraine. Minaya, head fake and drive. Gives it to Benson, who swishes another. So the freshman is having a fine start, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, really nice touch. Obviously, I hadn't seen much of Benson. My first time covering him, but very confident, good footwork. Doesn't look like a freshman at all out there right now.
So South Carolina has its largest lead. It's been behind for much of the first half. Randolph. Not the prettiest looking shot, but it's been worked on over the years. Just 1 of 6 from the field today for Randolph. Lawson a little out of control, and he walked.
Well,
South Carolina
on that one. But, A.J. Lawson has gotten back in good favor with the rim as he has attacked the glass. Started off cold, but like any good scorer says, you know what? Let me go get a couple easy buckets, see if I can't get the lid off the rim. Let's give the Gamecocks the lead.
Wow, I wish I could get a deal on a smartphone, but I'm not a new customer.
Well, actually now new and existing customers can get our best smartphone deal. It's historic.
That is historic, which means I'm making history, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd exactly...
Wow, me, Dave Brown, existing customer who got the greatest deal in history.
Just like every other customer gets.
Oh, that's cool too.
It's not complicated. AT&T is making history. Everyone gets our best smartphone deals.
You bet. Alyssa, we'll talk to you guys then. Yeah, 3-point lead for South Carolina. Fell behind by a few for much of this first half, but have clawed back. A.J. Lawson, Dane, has 9 points. He's attacking a bit more.
Yeah, A.J. Lawson is such a special player, and I just remember covering him as a freshman. And, you know, he had reclassified. He was young coming in as a freshman. And there's certainly growing pains with the way Frank Martin coaches hard, but he loves hard as well. But it doesn't make it easy, that's for sure. Even if you know what's coming, it's still a process. Yet he still showed so much maturity. I can remember the first time I saw him practice. Man, he had one of the worst practices. Coach was on him left and right. The assistant coaches are coming up trying to, you know, keep his head up. I mean, I thought the kid might cry. And then he goes out the next day and balls out like, you know, freshman high for him at that time, over 20 points. You know, so it showed me that he accepts coaching well, even at a young age. So no surprise to see him get himself to this point individually and be an NBA prospect down the road, or currently, I should say.
One to shoot. Florida A&M didn't realize it. And South Carolina's defense starting to clamp down a bit more. And Dane, going back to your point about AJ, isn't that what creates just a much larger challenge this year because of the disruptions and the pauses that the program has had to go to? You just have fewer chances for the growth, the development, kind of that interpersonal stuff between player and coach. That's just absent, especially the last month for South Carolina.
And particularly to Frank Martin's coaching style, where he's extremely tough on them in practice. But at the end of practice, as he's told us, that's when I go put my arm around him and say, come in the coach's office here, let's talk through this and that and tell you my expectations. And now, because of everything going on with the players, it's like, all right, we're going to get on the practice court. We're going to coach you, but maybe I need to make it a little bit more enjoyable so I'm not so critical all season long. And so you're getting away from who you are as a coach for what you think is the best call in this time and situation, something nobody else has been in. So there's so many variables that just go unnoticed by the typical fan.
Lawson off the window. Well, and Frank Martin, I think we both consider him one of the best leaders, if you will, in college hoops. Even he mentioned it to us yesterday. I'm having a tough time managing the last month and preparing my team considering all the limitations. Woods whistled for the reach-in. Women's hoops doubleheader on Thursday. Keep an eye out for Arkansas and Tennessee at 6:30, and then the top 15 battle. It's Kentucky and Texas A&M at 8:30. We've got a pile up after the missed free throw, and it looks like it's going to be a loose ball foul on South Carolina. No, take it back. The foul is on Bryce Moraine. And so South Carolina in the bonus will bring it the other side of the floor. And free throws coming for the Gamecocks.
For Florida and A&M, they've had so many guys contribute, as South Carolina has put a ton of attention on their leading scorer, Randolph. But as they approach halftime here, they're going to have to find a way to get Randolph the ball, because I just don't think it's sustainable to have the role players, none of which are averaging over double figures, to sustain this for 40 straight minutes without Randolph having an enhanced role in this game.
The junior from Pensacola has taken just 5 shots, 1 of 5 today. Littles, no. Maybe not the best bit of offense there. Deep Littles 3. He's missed every shot he's taken this year. Hannibal, open, but missed it long. Timeout Florida A&M with 1:13 to go in the first half. We wondered what we were going to see, Dane. At this point, South Carolina ahead by 3. It's had 4 games canceled since December 5th, 1 other postponed. Its originally scheduled SEC opener against Kentucky. A 3-point advantage, limited rotation.
I think it's a mixed bag, which is what we expected to a degree of, hey, South Carolina doesn't have their full roster. They hadn't played in a month. And there's going to be the excitement, but also rust and fatigue. I haven't seen the fatigue. I don't think the pace of play has been too strenuous yet. Could it show its head a little bit in the second half? Possibly, but right now I think you're just seeing a little bit of rust, and so much of rust gets focused on the offensive end, but let's not forget the foundation of Frank Martin's program is on defense, and so I would expect for them to be even better defensively in the second half after giving up right now about 46% shooting, which I know is far more than they want.
Excellent defense on Randolph by Lawson. Forced him to give it up to Desir. Kusnard. Another miss. Evans Desir. With a sweeping hook. About a 1-second difference between shot and game clock. South Carolina hurrying. Benson fouled. DJ Jones got him on the arm. And the freshman out of Ridgeview High in his Gamecocks debut. Already with 6. Can add.
I'd say that's got to be the surprise of the first half. It really is Benson's play. 6 points, 4 boards, a chance for 0.7 and 8. And not so much just the sheer numbers, but the comfort level. Usually if you're a freshman, you're coming in and you're getting your debut, you're coming in more of a playing not to make a mistake type attitude. But I feel like Coach Frank Martin, his staff, have certainly told him, hey, you're in there for a reason. We don't need you to be hesitant. Get in there and make an impact on this game. And 21 in white has certainly done that.
Lawson up on Randolph again. 7 to play until half. Randolph tried to split 2. Lost it. Kusnar. We saw him do that once before against Kentucky, but not that time. South Carolina down for much of the half. Claws back. Has a 3-point advantage at the break. Solid defense. A.J. Lawson with 11 points. But now, let's go to our SEC Network studio with Fish, Alyssa, and PB. Second half coming up inside Colonial Life Arena. South Carolina playing its first game in 4 weeks. Knocking a little rust off, leading Florida A&M by 3 with Dane Bradshaw. Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Here are some of the numbers from the first half. Dane, we've been throwing that word around a couple times in the first half. Knocking the rust off. Looking a little rusty. South Carolina is playing for the first time in 4 weeks.
And I'm thinking that Frank Martin is not having any of that. I bet at halftime he said, hey, guys, we've shown the rust. No longer an excuse. But rust doesn't allow you to not get yourself to the free throw line, something he puts a premium on, and not dominate the boards, something he puts a premium on as well. So forget the whole offensive side. You guys get out there and lock up defensively the way Frank Martin South Carolina teams are supposed to, and the rest will take care of itself.
And things were starting to trend in that direction the latter half of that opening frame. 6 steals for South Carolina's defense. And they have forced 10 Florida A&M turnovers as well. After the misfire, new 20-second shot clock for South Carolina. Kusnard draws the foul. Redshirt sophomore from East Chicago, Indiana, with 7 points at the break. He's South Carolina's leading scorer, and you touched on this in half number 1. Kusnard, Lawson, I mean, the experienced and veteran players must step up on the offensive side, considering the Gamecocks are playing with just 9 available players. Minaya, strong drive, and he banks it in.
And what do we see right away? They throw the ball into Levesque on the first possession, then on the out of bounds. Minaya puts his head down, goes to the rim. You can tell it was a point of emphasis to make this a game on the inside. That's where South Carolina will win.
MJ Randolph cut off by Kusnard. Reeves, offensive foul, and Kusnard takes the charge.
Kusnard didn't shoot it great, but really an all-around performance in that first half. 7 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, doing some of it all. But then no better way to get in good graces with the coaching staff than to sacrifice your body. Well done.
Use that word sacrifice. It sums up what the last few weeks have been like for Frank Martin's team. Just a challenging, harrowing 4-week stretch where South Carolina has been forced to pause all program activities twice due to COVID-19 and contact tracing as well. Woods can't stick the 3. Levesque, who played limited minutes in the first half thanks to 2 fouls, is heading to the free throw line after picking up the offensive rebound. Dane, if you had a copy of South Carolina's originally planned schedule for the non-conference, it's rip it up, it's useless. Just look at the number of disruptions. Only 3 of the scheduled 9 games for South Carolina have played at this point.
Yeah, and as they try to get off to a fresh start in 2021, they're doing it shorthanded, as you've alluded to, with Keyshawn Bryant, Alonzo Frank, TJ Moss, 3 guys, part of their important pieces of their normal rotation, all still out.
2 of those players starters, Bryant and Frank. TJ Moss, remember, he looked pretty good in that Houston game in early December.
Kid out of Memphis, Tennessee, shooting it well early on in the year.
Randolph had to give off to DJ Jones again. You think TJ Moss, he had a Dane Bradshaw White Station poster in the hanging up on the wall?
He went to a rival high school. He was at Memphis East. We were Memphis White Station before he went to Findlay Prep, I believe. But he played a couple years under Penny Hardaway, who's now at Memphis. And but another guy they're excited about, Moss obviously came in as a freshman and has grown every year. And the phrase that is starting to become popular is you want to get old as a program and stay old. Well, that's what Frank Martin and his program is trying to do, because his teams are at their best when he has veterans.
Tell me you had like 30 points one time against your rival, Memphis East. I mean, were you able to
I could tell you
to
that.
the rival back in the day?
I could tell you that. I just don't know. I don't know if anybody's going to call me out on the truth in the box score.
And Minaya is heading back to the free throw line. So there's another look, by the way, inside. And all of South Carolina's points in the first half, Dane, were either in the paint or from beyond the arc.
Well, they've got to get to the free throw line more and convert from there. Just 4 of 10 so far in this game. But being around Frank Martin enough, he says when he gets a stat sheet, a box score, either at halftime or in the game, the first 2 things he looks at is rebound margin and free throw line. He feels like those 2 categories is what tells him the story of the game, if they're being physical enough or if they're getting punked. I'm not saying they're getting punked necessarily, but 8 free throw attempts in the first half I know is not good enough for him.
Well, you're right. He should look away from the free throw statistic. 4 of 11, now 5 of 12. And you don't need to be a math whiz to know that's below 50%. South Carolina by 5, though. Pretty level playing field in the opening half. South Carolina led by 3 at the break. Actually trailed for much of it. There's M.J. Randolph and the aggression from the junior from Florida. Woods tangled with Randolph. Timeout taken by South Carolina. These 2 have been battling today. First ever meeting between the Gamecocks and the Rattlers. 3-point game still.
A year win, strength of character took center stage. And that was just the beginning. Same purpose, same goal, same bond, new year, same result. United, we ball.
I'm not sure there's a better example of someone who embodies that message and everything you just saw than one Frank Martin, the 9th-year head coach at South Carolina, of course leading South Carolina on the basketball court, right, to a Final Four 3 years ago, but also leading his players in many ways off the court. You know, this summer, it was such an impactful summer in regards to social reform. Frank, as you see there, back in June, he was named the co-chair along with Tommy Amaker of the NABC's Racial Reconciliation Committee. Dane, it's just fantastic. And Frank put it very simply. What we do is we're going to address issues related to racial injustice in college sports, in society. It's a lot of listening, learning, and educating as well.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, too, reading his quote on that in the Blue Ribbon by Chris Dortch, and how he talked with guys like Konzo Martin and Tommy Amaker. And Tommy Amaker of Harvard said, look, Frank, sometimes you choose the moment, sometimes the moment chooses you. And that's where they need him at this moment in time, and another leadership opportunity, which Frank Martin is so good at.
One of the best, not just coaches, but leaders, of course, in college sports. And he is not shy to share what he has learned over the years and educate as well. Pick of the pocket and the flush. A.J. Lawson. We have seen that a number of times over the last few years.
Well, they say a dunk, yeah, it's only worth 2 points, but it can mean a lot more than that. It can provide energy, a boost to your team under normal circumstances, gets the crowd on their feet. But, you know, it's interesting because right now I wonder if that shot by Florida A&M goes in if there's 15,000 people, 10,000 people in the arena where, you know, you create those runs. Those aren't there right now. So I do think it takes away from some of that as an advantage for the opposing team.
The playing field a bit more level than it typically is. But meanwhile, Lawson with 13. Kusnard hoists. Minaya, strong rebound. And Randolph takes it. South Carolina leads by 3. And Woods is whistled for the blocking foul. So Dane, Keyshawn Bryant, the dazzling dunker, he is unavailable today. Lawson saying, I got you back.
A.J. Lawson taking flight. We said it needed to go attack the rim a little bit more. Message sent.
This is the new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G, and it's on AT&T, the fastest nationwide 5G network.
Now new and existing customers can get our best deal.
Really? Mom, AT&T has the deal for new and existing customers. I will.
So what'd she say?
It's the wrong person. It's a guy named Carl, but he's very excited and on his way.
Word-of-mouth advertising. It's what they did before commercials.
It's not complicated. Everyone gets our best deal, like the amazing iPhone 12 mini on us.
Don't forget our triple header of SEC Hoops continues later today. Auburn at Texas A&M at 3:30, followed by Kentucky visiting Starkville at 6. You can catch it on the ESPN app as well. Kentucky in search of the clean slate, as you referenced before. 1-6 in non-conference play, a big one against Mississippi State. So let's learn a little bit about Florida A&M. Coming to you from Tallahassee. So here's who I got for the most notable alumni of Florida A&M. Common, the Hall of Famer Andre Dawson, Pam Oliver, and then the Daily Show's finest, Roy Wood Jr. I mean, that's a strong alumni list.
That is. Good job by you on the research, too. And, gosh, that's a hard pick. You know, I grew up when Common was really first making his presence felt, but he's gone more from just rapper into just actor and all the above. A great voice for commercials and voiceovers. And then, of course, Pam Oliver. I can't remember the last time I didn't see her on Sunday during football season.
Oh, synonymous with the NFL. So in your gigantic CD case, excuse me, which has now stood the test of time. Are there a couple of common CDs in there as well?
You know, it would have been. I think he had the one with Erykah Badu back in the day. What was the? I think I'm struggling for it here. I think it was Like Water for Chocolate was his first album. Something, if I'm getting that right. But
it's reasonable for you to forget something. You've got like 800 CDs.
It was around
in that
2000.
case.
You got to give me a break. I think I was 16. I was just collecting them. Yeah. But on a more serious note for Florida A&M, I mean, every time you think South Carolina is going to start pulling away, A&M has an answer. And when we talk about all the coaches going through adversity, especially with this pandemic, Coach McCollum's barely had a normal season. You know, he took over a program that had APR penalties, but has still kept everybody motivated, engaged, and thinking big picture. And now they're at a point where they're able to compete against Power 5 teams, as they're showing today.
Well, no doubt about it. And this perfectly illustrates your point. Florida A&M was down 6 a few minutes ago. It just tied it up before the recent South Carolina basket. It has remained a 4, 5, 6 point game for almost the entirety of this one. Keith
Little's
it's a
variety of guys, yeah. Coming into the game, I just didn't think they'd have enough scores. Randolph is the only one that averages double figures, but they've had balance throughout the game, and it's been different guys stepping up, whether it's good three-point shooting, getting themselves to the free throw line, and ultimately just under 50% from the field.
Wildens Levesque running the floor. Kusnard found him. Lead back to 4. Remember, South Carolina's first game.
Uh-oh.
In 4 weeks, Lawson again. Back to the largest Gamecock lead of the day. Randolph attacks, and there was an open lane to the rim.
Well, that's just got to frustrate Frank Martin so much. You're getting the momentum, 2 easy dunks on one end, and then just a simple ball screen breakdown on the defensive end.
Hannibal stumbles, lost it. He wanted the foul, but South Carolina's got to get back, because there goes Randolph, and that 6-point lead vanishes again.
Well, credit the Rattlers, but again, I think that was a little bit more South Carolina than it was Florida A&M, and careless with the ball screen defense, and then careless with the ball in traffic, leading to 2 easy buckets for Florida A&M. However, prior to that, you had Levesque running the lane, getting his easy 2, and then A.J. Lawson gets the steal on the perimeter, his second of the game, throwing it down.
Lawson with a game-high 15. South Carolina leads by 2. Minaya, drive, kick, Hannibal, cut off. And a third straight turnover. Oh, South Carolina bailed out. Spear jumped the passing lane and lost it.
As you know, Frank Martin does substitute a lot. He's got a short leash at times. And that time he was so upset with Hannibal, and I saw him look to the bench. And he pauses for a second because he's not looking at a bench that he's accustomed to seeing with the quality of depth that he's looking for. But he said, no, I'm not bailing you out. You're still coming out of the game.
The window bailed Lawson out. Banks the 3 in. A short bench today, a different looking bench, different looking scene inside Colonial Life Arena this year. The first time South Carolina has played inside this building this year.
Well,
look at this one.
Better to be lucky than good. A.J. Lawson's both, though, so there's a big reason why many believe he'll be a first-team All-SEC player by the end of the season.
Someone with pro potential. 18 points now for Lawson. That's his new season high. The pesky Rattlers back on offense. Spear fouled. 3 free throws coming for the freshman from Gainesville, Florida.
Well, you just got to give him a place to land. If you're Seventh Woods, you applaud the effort for getting out there and closing out, contesting the 3. But you got to fly by there and don't allow yourself to have any contact. So now for the second time as South Carolina has tried to build a lead, it's a defensive breakdown that keeps A&M right in this. I guess they're calling that after the shot.
Yeah, so not a shooting foul.
Boy.
Randolph. Woods secures the rebound. So South Carolina dodges a bullet. Uh-oh, Woods got it!
Oh, gosh.
Oh, crosses up his man and splashes it.
Oh, when they say put him on skates, that's what they're referring to.
Littles can't respond, and South Carolina can continue stretching its largest lead of the day. Not so fast. Another turnover, but Dane, Seventh Woods.
Seventh Woods
Show
was
the
a
handles.
household name coming out of high school, yeah, and then just a little step back, behind the back. Whoop, come back over here. Got him.
All right, so let's take a look at today's protection spotlight brought to you by Allstate. South Carolina with some smothering defense at times today.
Well, you know, if you get past one defender against the Gamecocks, there's more coming at you. And we've seen it multiple times. Blocking the shot, leading to easy baskets on the other end. South Carolina able to force 14 turnovers so far in this game. Hadn't converted quite as many as they'd like to, just 10 points off those turnovers, but they've been a Big Ten and typically easy dunks and layups on the other end.
No question that Florida A&M has been the better team from the field, that is shooting today, but yep, 14 turnovers. South Carolina has tallied 8 steals to this point. A few of the blocks that you just saw, and the Gamecocks have their largest lead of the day. Boy, it just must feel just normal again to be on the court. As you referenced before, this is typically the sanctuary, the outlet for players, coaches, and that has been missing for 4 weeks. So South Carolina with this game today before starting SEC play next week.
Yeah, these guys are back doing what they love to do, and even though they've had the disruption, when you are practicing, when you're scrimmaging against yourselves, you can only do that for so long before it just gets bored and tiresome. And so just to be back on the court, and they're getting a good run. I mean, this is a Florida A&M team that's not going away. And while I understand Frank Martin played this game because his players said, hey, we want to go even though we don't have our full roster, I think they needed this game before they get into conference play. I really do.
That Brown 3, though, has it back to a 2-possession game. You know, it's worth saluting the efforts of these Rattlers as well. Robert McCullum's team has been on the road for the entirety of this season, 7 straight road games. They had a 12-day road trip earlier this year, games against teams like Oregon, Oklahoma, Austin Peay, Georgia Tech. They, of course, have had to follow the very stringent and necessary travel protocols being on the road for so long. And now Spear fouled again. Is he going to get the 3 free throws this time? Indeed he will. First foul on Hannibal. On Tuesday, remember, another doubleheader on the SEC Network. Vandy and Kentucky gets it started. 12th ranked Missouri, winners today against Arkansas, heads to Starkville at 9. It's right here on the SEC Network. That's a big bounce back for Mizzou, Dane, against an Arkansas team. I think I joked with you earlier. The Razorbacks have kind of looked like the Golden State Razorbacks, the way they have scored at times in the non-conference. But Mizzou stifling them today. That game final, 81-68, Missouri win.
Yeah, Justin Smith, the big man for Arkansas, out of the game, and Jeremiah Tillman, a guy that had kind of just become more of a role player, ends up being the star of the game on the interior.
So Tennessee and Missouri, what's the next team you're putting stock in to be at the top behind those two? There's Kusnard for 3.
Despite Keontae Johnson's absence, I still look at Florida, given the quality of guard play that they have. But yeah, and even though they haven't had the best non-conference, I still look at Alabama as an NCAA tournament team. I think they can get it going and finish in the upper half of the SEC with leadership like Herb Jones, Javon Quinterly, the Villanova transfer. Really nice game the other night, as well as John Petty.
3-point game inside Colonial Life Arena. Anderson hauls down the spear miss. Minaya pushing.
But Kevin, with that said, I think under normal circumstances you would look at this South Carolina team, especially with their backcourt. Justin Minaya, A.J. Lawson, Keyshawn Bryant. I mean, that's a backcourt that can compete with anybody in the league. But right now, they're just doing enough to compete with Florida A&M given the circumstances.
all of a sudden, Jalen Spear has 15, and the Rattlers have tied it again. Quickly erasing the 7-point hole. Now a 2-point lead for the visitors.
Oh, Spear again.
Anderson open for the easy deuce. Tied at 61, past the midway mark of the second half. Offensive foul.
Well, I love Spears' game on film. He's got a bounce and an energy to him. And right now you'll see him just ready, catch and stick. Plays with a lot of swagger and confidence. This time goes in. The scoop shot with the right, getting past the defender. 17 points for the young man.
That Anderson basket snapped the 8-0 FAMU run. Correction, that was an 8-0 Jalen Spear run. A little bit of a zone look. Hannibal tried to slam it. Now it's a 3-on-1. Spear lost it. Wild sequence. South Carolina looked like it was about to take a lead. Then the run out.
It's just been a tough afternoon for Hannibal. He's not giving Frank Martin what he wants offensively. Fouls a three-point shooter on the other end and misses a dunk there. And so, tough kid. You're not in the rotation under Frank Martin unless you've got something in you. But right now, Hannibal has got to calm down, make the easy play, and help pull his team through.
A sophomore from Hartsville, South Carolina. A test today from an experienced Florida A&M team that you should expect to be at the top of the MEAC at the end of the year. Anderson strong. Manaya with the rebound.
Those are game-winning
now 9
plays
rebounds.
Right
yeah.
I mean, it'll just show up as 1 rebound in the stat book, but those are getting your team those extra possessions at a time they needed it the most.
9 boards for South Carolina's leading rebounder. 2 to shoot. Hannibal. Nope. Levesque offensive rebound. A third look for South Carolina. Manaya can't knock down the 3.
Well, if you needed a possession to highlight rust for South Carolina, that one might be it.
Evans Desir and 1. The nimble footwork along the baseline, Dane.
You nailed it. The 300-pounder from Haiti. We talked about it early and often. This guy has some footwork. Shows it to you right there. No look. Reverse with the left. Big fella's eating right now.
This is the new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G, and it's on AT&T, the fastest nationwide 5G network.
Now new and existing customers can get our best deal.
Really? Mom, AT&T has the deal for new and existing customers. I will.
So what'd she say?
It's the wrong person. It's a guy named Carl, but he's very excited and on his way.
Word of mouth advertising. It's what they did before commercials.
It's not complicated. Everyone gets our best deal, like the amazing iPhone 12 mini on us.
Mizzou bounces back from the loss to Tennessee and is now 7-1. South Carolina trailing Florida A&M by 2. And Dane, the freshman from Gainesville, the product of the Rock School, Jalen Spear, with a team best 17. He's taken over in the second half.
He's been phenomenal. Plays with so much confidence. Has a pop to his game. As I mentioned, very bouncy. And, I mean, even when the ball's not going in for him, it looks like it's going to go in, like it's got a chance. And he's the aggressor, doesn't play on his heels. But if you told me before the game that the difference would be a 170-pound freshman and a 300-pound senior, that would be South Carolina's problems. I'd say you're crazy, but these guys can go now. And again, South Carolina's had their opportunities to pull away. When they would get that 5-6 point lead, they would have the defensive breakdowns that kept Florida A&M in it, as A&M tries a half-court trap to surprise South Carolina.
Lawson gets 2 free throws. But you're right, since the Gamecocks pulled ahead by 7, right around the midway mark of the half, Florida A&M is on a 14-4 run. Make no mistake, Robert McCullum's Rattlers have been here before. Last knocking off a major conference opponent last year in the non-conference, defeating Iowa State up in Ames. So no stranger to these type of moments. Back to a 1-point game after the Lawson free throws. He has 20. Randolph. Rebound, Levesque. South Carolina pushing. Minaya takes off and scores it off the window. 1-point lead again for the home team.
They're getting good looks at the rim. That's where they have to keep going. They're now 20 of 40 from 2, 6 for 22 from 3.
Cameron Reeves with a clean look at the rim. First basket of the second half for the senior. Back and forth we go. Lawson, splash, big 3.
Typically you want to drive a bad pass. Lawson does a terrific job of gathering himself, getting his feet set before shooting that.
Reeves uses the screen to Randolph. Baseline drive. 2 to shoot. Desir doesn't realize it. Reeves does. Shot clock violation.
You'll see here, just because you're open doesn't mean you should shoot it. And so it's a good look, but just a little bit off. And he takes a minute, gets that extra bounce in before hoisting up the 3. Nice job by Lawson after good court vision by Hannibal.
The 7th 20-point game of Lawson's career. Kusnard knifes in. Fouled. 2 free throws coming. Frank Martin has been displeased at times today. His team's trying to avoid a bit of a letdown today. Later tonight at 8, we'll recap it all. Peter Burns, Pat Bradley, Damian Fishback. We'll have all the highlights and analysis from today's event. So who is making the joke off screen that they're all laughing at? Who is that? Was that Randy Heritage who dropped a joke in there?
That's just them watching us, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's just them watching us.
And a critical missed free throw. South Carolina 8 of 16 from the stripe. Jalen Spear again.
Hey, he's been the best player on the court. Jalen Spear has attacked. This freshman is not scared. He's not bashful. And he has taken over this game.
Number 1 in the orange with 19. Bounce it down to Levesque. Spins. Right hand hook shot strong. A&M can take a lead with a bucket. The Randolph miss, pinballs out, stays here.
Now South Carolina, they better find number 1, because look at that. He sees the defender come over to help, pulls up calmly, smoothly with that mid-range shot. And who's going to own up and say, you know what, I got him, coach. I got him. He's not scoring another bucket the rest of the game. And right now, A.J. Lawson has that assignment.
Randolph takes it in. A foul. That's another on Levesque. And that's all he's got. That is his, that's his 4th foul.
Kevin, when we talked to Coach Frank Martin yesterday, I brought up the fact that in the few games they've had, he's gotten away from some of the man-to-man, done a few more zone defenses than we're accustomed to seeing. And I asked, the strategy behind that. I think a lot of it had to do with just the personnel they have, the lack of off-season they had to really learn the man-to-man. So, knowing that they might not trust their man-to-man defense as much as they normally would, I'll be curious to see if he tries to stick with this or throw in a little bit of zone down the stretch.
This is the 5th tie, make it the 4th of the second half. We've had 5 lead changes, knotted up at 69. 4:40 to go inside Colonial Life Arena.
That's just not a shot they want. It's just off the dribble, no passes in the half court.
Minaya with his 10th rebound. And now has a double-double. Kusnard off the window and down. Brown hands off to Randolph. Spin. Offensive foul. Hannibal makes up for some of his prior transgressions, forces the turnover.
You're right, that's a big-time play by Hannibal. Don't soak your head on one end, get back on the other end and make a play, and a terrific job. It sells it well. Perfect execution by Hannibal.
USAA insurance for this season. When being a fan on a budget gets tough, our agents do the legwork so saving on auto insurance is easy. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
USAA. Ohio State. The national championship game, Monday, January 11th on ESPN.
South Carolina's first game in 4 weeks. It leads Florida A&M by just 2. 3:56 to go in Columbia. With Dane Bradshaw, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Dane, we wondered how rusty South Carolina may look. Florida A&M with a few more games under its belt compared to what South Carolina has had to deal with the last few weeks. And this has been a tight game throughout.
And this is the risk you take if you're Frank Martin. When the players said, hey, we know we don't have our full roster, but let's play anyway, he said, all right, let's do it. We hadn't had the practices we want. We don't have Keyshawn Bryant, our best athlete on the court, Alonzo Frink, our best big man on the court, TJ Moss, one of our best shooters. He's not in the game either, but let's roll it out there and play anyway. And so against a very capable Florida A&M team, yes, that's 1-5, but much of that has been against Power 5 teams that they're willing to play. And here you are coming down to the wire, trying to break away from just a relentless Rattlers team.
And without the starters you mentioned, without Moss, without McCreary, Frink, Bryant, it's been that man, A.J. Lawson, who has carried the weight, 23 points, nearing his career high of 28. And they have needed every bit of it. South Carolina led by 3 at the break, increased the lead to 7 around the midway mark of the second half, but the Rattlers used a 14-4 run to get back in it, and they can maybe tie it up here after the turnover. Randolph got the shot blocked. Now numbers for South Carolina. Woods kicks out. Kusnard, three is down. Randolph had to get rid of it, was nearing the 5-second count. 8 to shoot. Reeves was looking for Spear. Instead, drives in himself. Brown for three. Here's Woods. Lawson left open. He lets it 5 for three. No good. Brown. Tipped out. South Carolina ball. A 5-point lead for the Gamecocks after a flurry of missed threes.
A few possessions ago, this might be the play of the game for the Gamecocks as A.J. Lawson hustles back with the block and just a great transition find by 7th Woods with Kusnard doing the rest. And Kusnard's just been solid all game long. 15.6 board, 5 assists, logging a ton of minutes.
South Carolina is looking for its first win in 34 days. Kusnard kicks out. Lawson triggers. 2 minutes to play, and it's a 5-point game in Columbia. Florida A&M, 6 straight games on the road to start the year against power conference opponents. It's gotten closer and closer in these games, within 5. Spear with 19. Got it. Make it 21. The freshman from Gainesville leaving it out on the floor. 3-point game.
Yeah, Spears is going to get the switch here, and he's like, look, I don't care who's on me. I'm taking this one. And I've been really impressed by his pull-up game, mid-range jumper. And he's sitting here saying, guys, we ain't going, man. Not if I have anything to say for it.
The expression on his face indicating just what type of challenge this is, trying to take down South Carolina. But a 3-point lead for the Gamecocks with 1:36 to go. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. South Carolina in the double bonus, and Florida A&M would be in a 1-and-1 situation if fouled next.
I know Kusnard made the big 3, but they've also now had, I believe, 3 straight possessions where the ball has really not gotten inside the arc. And if I'm South Carolina, this ball's got to go up on the rim from 2 in the paint. Get yourself to the free throw line. Tough twos, create offensive rebounds, because A&M has played a lot of zone, and they're daring South Carolina to shoot the 3. It's not that South Carolina can't, but if you got to pick your poison a little bit, that's where you want South Carolina to live from.
Nearly a turnover, and that was Spear with the defense. Sleight of hand. 1:26 to go. South Carolina leads by 3. First game in 4 weeks for the Gamecocks. Into the corner. That 3 off the mark. Woods couldn't hit it. Minaya with another rebound. Threw it to Randolph. Spear spots up. Down and out. South Carolina ball.
How close was that? I mean, A&M got everything they wanted. The defensive stop made South Carolina settle for 3. And then on the other end, you have your best scorer in this game, Spear, just barely rims out.
That went halfway down before popping out. A battle today. South Carolina getting tested. Kusnard with 15. Lob to Levesque. Blocked from behind. A foul. And that's on Reeves. 2 free throws coming for Levesque.
And that's what I've been calling for the last few possessions. And that time, I believe it was Cousinard that went in there, just put his head down. Because they just have not been able to get Levesque a traditional post-up opportunity to get into the paint. So you're going to have to make a one-on-one drive to create inside scoring opportunities, as Cousinard did.
Two big ones from Levesque. And South Carolina calls a timeout with 41.2 left. 5-point advantage for the Gamecocks. No team has led by more than 7. Much of this second half has been played within just a couple points. Lawson with 23 to lead all South Carolina scores. You saw Jalen Spear, the freshman from Gainesville, with a career-high 21.
And right now, if you're South Carolina, I think you got to identify shooters. And even though Randolph is one of the better scorers for A&M, he's not typically a three-point threat, only 3 attempts on the year. So obviously you got to find Spear. If you're Coach McCollum, do you put Johnny Brown in, a guy that's 44% on the year? Because they don't have a ton of shooters right now. And, yeah, there's a lot of time in the game. You can get the quick 2. But I don't know how many possessions you're going to get back and forth here if you try to play it that way.
It's been a unpredictable, challenging last month for South Carolina. You brought this point up before. The players, they wanted this game. They wanted to get back out there. Just a couple practices. That's been the only basketball activity, you could say, the last 4 weeks for South Carolina since the first of its 2 shutdowns on December 7th. Up by 5 with 40 seconds to go. This is Reeves for 3. That was last touch by South Carolina. So Florida A&M inbounds with a fresh shot clock, 30.8 to go.
Keep your eye on number 21, the sophomore Brown. Tall lefty, a guy that can get his own shot off. They put him in the game for a reason as they're hunting that 3 ball.
So, Dane, we're going to take a look at who touched this one. It appeared there were 2 Gamecocks in the vicinity as that one was batted out. So Todd Austin, Errol Lewis to the monitor. Quick decision, it appears. Still Rattler ball. All right, so 21 in the orange. Keep an eye out for. Of course, Jalen Spear, number 1 in the orange, has 21 tonight. $20 seconds on the shot clock. Spear, open, corner 3. Rebound to Lawson. And then Brown fouls him. 20.8 to go. And South Carolina can benefit from the free throw game in the closing seconds.
Well, they got the look they wanted. You've got your hottest shooter, wide open corner 3. Just can't get it to fall. Coach McCollum with a nice play design after the timeout. Looks like that's Cousinard that might be getting a cramp. So after Spear gets himself open and
Number 5 underneath in the white.
Well, maybe it was a knee.
With the assist from Mark Roger, Couisnard to his feet.
Boy, he's played hard tonight. They've needed every single one of his minutes. He's been all over the court, a defensive pest, reliable offensively, getting his teammates involved while still attacking the rim. In a game where South Carolina was better from 2 than they were 3. Couisnard struggled from 3 like the others did, but when they needed him to, he put his head down and got himself to the rim.
So on the floor for the Gamecocks now, Lawson, Benaya, Levesque, who takes the place of Couisnard, Woods. This free throw would make it a 3-possession lead with 20.8. .25 for Lawson. A&M has got to move really quick. Randolph fouled on the drive. A 1-and-1 coming with 12.9 to go. I'll make it 2 free throws for MJ Randolph, Florida A&M's leading scorer, who has been contained today. Just 12 points for the junior from Pensacola, Florida. And oh, indeed, it was a 1-and-1. Rebound, Benaya. And South Carolina can dribble it out. A battle, a test, a fight from Florida A&M, but South Carolina wins it. Its first game in 4 weeks is a win.
For
and
South
Dave,
Carolina,
these players
I
wanted this game. Yeah, they come out victorious.
I think this is what you wanted if you're South Carolina. You knew it wasn't gonna be pretty, gonna be a little rusty, but get your legs back, get your whole team back, get ready for conference play.
Lawson, he led the way. 25 points for the junior from Ontario. 9 of 16 from the field. And Frank Martin's Gamecocks back in the win column for the first time in 5 weeks. For Dane Bradshaw and our entire great crew, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald saying so long from Columbia. SEC Now is next. Good night.